Hi everyone and Ohio State Buckeyes Nation, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Ohio State football news, recruiting updates, and insider-style breakdowns, because today we're diving into a massive recruiting moment that quietly sent shockwaves through Buckeye Nation as the nation's top-ranked wide receiver made his way to Columbus and left everyone talking after sharing an unforgettable photo from his Ohio State football visit. And while most fans have been locked in on the transfer portal chaos, roster movement, and nil drama, Ryan Day and his staff were busy making serious noise on the high school recruiting trail, especially for the 2027 class, with the headline name being five-star phenom Monshon Sales, the #1 wide receiver in the country, who took an unofficial visit to Ohio State and instantly reminded everyone why the Buckeyes remain one of the most powerful brands in college football recruiting. Because Sales didn't just show up alone, he was surrounded by elite company, and that's where the story gets even more exciting, as a single photo from the visit featured Sales alongside fellow five-star talents Eric McFarland and Jameer Brown, creating what might be one of the most talent-loaded recruiting images Buckeye fans have seen in years. And it didn't take long for that picture to spread across social media, message boards, and recruiting circles, because when you see that level of star power together in Columbus, it sends a clear message that Ohio State is not backing down from its reputation as wide receiver U, even in an era where recruiting battles are tougher, louder, and more competitive than ever. And Monshon Sales, who has been dominating headlines as the top wideout in the nation according to major recruiting services like 247 Sports, is exactly the type of player who could redefine an offense the moment he steps on campus, with elite size, speed, route running ability, and that rare playmaking instinct that separates great prospects from generational ones. And when a player of that caliber takes time to visit your program, it's never just a casual stop, it's a statement, because unofficial visits still matter, especially for underclassmen, and Ohio State made sure this visit counted by surrounding Sales with elite peers, elite facilities, and a vision of what his future could look like in scarlet and gray. And Jameer Brown being there matters even more, because Brown is already committed to Ohio State, and having a five-star commit actively recruiting other five-star talents is one of the most underrated weapons in modern college football, as peer recruiting has become just as influential as coach pitches. And when Sales sees someone of Brown's caliber fully bought into the Buckeyes, it reinforces the idea that something special is being built for the future, while Eric McFarland's presence adds another layer to the intrigue, because if Ohio State were somehow able to land both Sales and McFarland in the same class, it would instantly be viewed as one of the most dominant wide receiver hauls in the country, and possibly one of the best in program history, especially when you consider the momentum Ohio State already has at the position. And that's where Ryan Day deserves serious credit, because despite criticism, transfer portal debates, and questions about postseason results, he has not taken his foot off the gas when it comes to recruiting elite talent, and he understands better than anyone that Ohio State's identity is built on explosive playmakers, especially at wide receiver. And while the Buckeyes continue to make strategic moves in the transfer portal to address immediate needs, Day is also laying the foundation for long-term dominance, and the 2027 class is shaping up to be a major focus, with Monshon Sales potentially becoming the crown jewel. But make no mistake, landing Sales is not going to be easy, because when you're the #1 wide receiver in the nation, every powerhouse program in the country wants you, and Sales has no shortage of options, with schools across the Big Ten and beyond making him a top priority, including Indiana, where Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers are aggressively selling their vision, recent success, and playoff aspirations. And Indiana's push is real, because they're using momentum, opportunity, and the promise of being a centerpiece of their offense to try to sway Sales toward Bloomington. And in today's recruiting landscape, that kind of pitch can be compelling, especially for players who want immediate impact and a clear path to stardom. But Ohio State is countering that with something few programs can truly match, and that's a proven track record of developing elite wide receivers into national stars and NFL first-round picks. Because when Sales looks at Columbus, he's not just seeing a campus visit, he's seeing a lineage that includes some of the most dominant receivers college football has produced in recent years. And that history matters, because Ohio State wideouts don't just get hyped, they deliver. And right now, Jeremiah Smith is the perfect example, as he has established himself as the best receiver in the country, period. And his success sends a powerful message to recruits like Sales that if you come to Ohio State, you will be developed, showcased, and prepared for the next level. And that message is reinforced even more when you look at the Buckeyes' 2026 recruiting haul, which already includes five-star wide receiver Chris Henry Jr., a player many believe could make an immediate impact as a true freshman. And when you stack that level of talent across multiple recruiting classes, it paints a picture of sustained excellence, not just short-term success. And that's exactly what elite recruits want to be part of, because they don't just want to win games, they want to compete for championships, build a legacy, and maximize their future potential, and Ohio State's ability to consistently send receivers to the NFL gives Ryan Day a powerful advantage in these battles, and while the Buckeyes' most recent season may not have ended the way fans hoped, recruits are smart enough to look beyond one season and focus on long-term trends, development pipelines, and opportunity, and that's where Ohio State continues to shine, because even in seasons that fall short of ultimate goals, the program remains one of the most visible, respected, and talent-rich in the nation, and Monchen Sale's visit reflects that reality, because he didn't just tour facilities, he experienced the culture, the energy, and the vision that Ohio State is selling for the future, and the fact that he chose to share a photo from the visit speaks volumes, because recruits today understand branding, optics, and influence, and when a number one receiver posts a moment from Columbus featuring multiple five-star prospects, it instantly elevates Ohio State's recruiting buzz, fuels speculation, and keeps the Buckeyes firmly in the conversation, and that's why this visit matters so much, because it's not just about one player, it's about momentum, perception, and momentum-driven recruiting, and with Jameer Brown already committed, Ohio State has a built-in advocate who can continue to recruit Sales behind the scenes, building relationships that could pay off months or even years down the road, and while nothing is guaranteed in recruiting, especially this early, Ohio State has positioned itself extremely well, and Sales now has a lot to think about after seeing firsthand what the Buckeyes have to offer, and as this recruitment continues to unfold, Ohio State will remain a program to watch closely, because if Ryan Day and his staff can close the deal, landing Monchen Sales would be a massive statement that wide receiver U is not just alive, but evolving, adapting, and preparing to dominate the next era of college football. And whether Sales ultimately chooses Ohio State or another powerhouse, this visit alone proves that the Buckeyes are still operating at an elite level on the recruiting trail, quietly stacking relationships, building future classes, and reminding everyone that when it comes to elite wide receiver talent, Ohio State will always be in the fight. And that's why Buckeye fans should be excited, because the future might be even brighter than it already looks, and this recruitment story is far from over.